Bang, the oven's preheated. I'm Mario. That's my Croatian co-host, Franco, a.k.a. Papa Fazul.
Papa.
Worthy of a podcast. Follow us on all the socials. Keep sharing the show and spank that subscribe button.
Yes, sir.
Where are we today, Frank?
If you can't tell by the beautiful backdrop, we're at the amazing 110 in Melville. It's an unbelievable Italian spot in Long Island, one of our favorites. The chef is about to put on an absolute show tonight, and I cannot wait. We have a great guest that we've been waiting to have on for a minute now. Tell us a little bit about him.
Man, Iaquinta, you guys know him best from the UFC. My mom just thinks he's some cute realtor from Instagram. This is gonna be a good one. I mean, we're sitting down with a guy tonight that went 5 rounds with Khabib. This is some serious stuff, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, he would hurt you bad, dude. I can't wait.
Keep it cooking in the oven. The oven. The oven. Yep. The oven. The oven. The oven. Yep. The oven. The oven. The oven. Smells good. The oven. Yep.
Al, thanks for being here, man.
Oh, thanks. This is great. To walk right in, to get my order taken, steak, freaking special martinis. This is you guys are doing it right over here. I like this.
Good job, Rob.
Yeah.
Great job, Rob.
Yeah, for real, man. Appreciate you coming. I feel like it's been like a long time coming. You know, we had Maddie Frivola on a while back, and we were like, man, like local, Wantall kid, Iaquinta would be amazing. And here we are, man. 110 is hooking it up.
Yeah, no.
This man's wanting to start off. He didn't tell me what he was coming out with. I'm a little nervous over here.
So everyone's doing this like celebrity boxing now. Tyson, Jake Paul coming up. Do you have any interest in getting involved in some sort of charity boxing or celebrity boxing?
I'm interested in fighting any kind of fighting. You know, definitely. I'm definitely interested in some boxing. Started the real estate thing. I opened up my own office like a year and a half ago, and now it's kind of coming together. I put a lot of work into it, so I think now maybe the time to kind of like do something fun. And now I'm really like getting the itch back, you know. So it's definitely something that I'd entertain for sure.
What do you think you would fight at right now? What would be like a weight that you can get down to for boxing?
Yeah, probably about the same. Probably 155, 160, something like that.
Why are you asking all these questions?
He's got a fight lined up. He's like,
no, so
we got the promoter right here.
So I think we could probably, if we cut off both of Franco's legs, we could probably get him down to 155.
You can get down to 155, I think.
I can't tell you last time I've been 155, dude.
No, because I was thinking like if we get some sort of charity boxing going, we promote the real estate, promote the podcast.
Yeah.
I think we could put a whole event together.
I don't really say no to a lot of things. It takes a lot. I say yes to pretty much everything.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty. I did a pro wrestling thing.
Oh, that's right. I saw that.
A couple weeks ago.
How awesome was that?
It was, bro. I growing up, you know, when I was in like elementary school, I watched hockey, and then I got into like WWE. I always liked boxing and like UFC a little later on, but WWF at the time that was like what I loved. So getting in there, I got to do like what I wanted to do as a kid. I always imagined like slamming someone in the ring going and everybody cheering. It was sick. It was cool. They asked me to sponsor an event, and I was like, hold on, WWE, you know, like pro wrestling. I go, God, how do I get in there? So I went down. I trained with the guys for like a couple of days, and then got in there. It was a ton of fun. But yeah, I don't really say no to many things, so I think now's the time. Maybe a little celebrity or like a little boxing thing would be cool.
Let's do it. I love that you heard that. You heard that.
Can you get down to 155?
If I did, would you roll? We do a charity event with the podcast?
Let's do it.
Let's go. We'll face off after this. After this episode, we're doing a face off.
I can't believe that's what he's coming out with.
I will go anorexic for this.
He just said he's got the itch back, and you want to box him? You're fucking nuts. You're nuts.
All right, let's get to my last meal. All right, we already started digging in here. We got the 110 meatball, the charred octopus, the 110 alla vodka pizza with burrata on top, which looks insane, by the way.
Yeah, this looks crazy.
Then we got the raviolo slab bacon. That's with egg yolk and a raviolo on top. For those of you who don't know, we just found out raviolo means a raviolo, and ravioli is plural for raviolo.
You can't just have one little ravioli. It doesn't work like that.
You better be right about that. I'm on camera saying it now. So. And then,
I believe it. I buy it.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
The way she presented it too.
Very confidently.
Very convincing. And then we got Franco's got the Aperol Spritz. This kid drinks more Aperol than a girl on her first trip to Italy. It's crazy.
Fantastic.
And we got the me and Al. We got the Merlot. Keeping it classy.
Yeah, cheers,
Cheers,
fellas.
boys.
Good.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
I feel ridiculous cheersing with this now. You brought it up like that. Oh, man.
No, those will get you.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
That is really good. So I was want to come off the bat. We got a huge couple weeks coming. UFC Noche, Saturday, September 14th at the Sphere for the first time. It's, according to Dana White, the most expensive combat sport event of all time, right? I feel like we're
Expensive. Tickets were expensive.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And they
man.
just cut the price like in half or something. I don't know. I hope they're doing good with it. You know,
They cut the
'cause
price in half?
The ticket prices, they just dropped. So I bought tickets like right when they came out. They were like, you're not giving out tickets to anybody for this thing.
They wouldn't give you a ticket?
Not for this.
Damn.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm not. Merab's fighting at the Sphere.
gotta go.
Once in a lifetime event. I'm like, and I got good seats. I'm bringing my girl out, so we got really good seats. And then they dropped the price. Now I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, motherfucker. But it's Merab, title fight at the Sphere. The guy's the best guy, Merab.
Oh, dude,
You know?
he's awesome.
How do you see that fight
Finally.
going? Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, he could. I'm just happy he's finally getting the shot at shooting,
Finally
man.
getting
Finally.
It's, you know, I feel like Aljo, Merab, those guys have really had to work for their title shots.
For sure, dude.
Like O'Malley, they wins one fight, a split decision against Peter Yan.
And he's the next best thing.
And they set him up for the title shot. After Aljo has a tough fight, they announce it like that night. I think O'Malley was already like preparing.
O'Malley was in the octagon, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it when Merab like,
when
took his
Merab
jacket or something?
jacket. Yeah.
So good.
We were there. We were there for that.
Yeah,
we were
Boston
there
for that? Oh,
Yeah.
no, that was in
That was in Newark.
Newark.
that was in Newark. Yeah, when he
I was
beat,
at the Boston one. With,
did he beat TJ
Cejudo.
or Cejudo?
it was well, wasn't that Aljo versus Cejudo?
Aljo or Cejudo.
Yeah, yeah.
That's when they had O'Malley there.
Yeah, that was a great fight. We've been actually the last couple. We were in I was in Boston for when you were in Aljo's corner.
Yeah.
That was
That was a
have
crazy.
Have you ever
crazy
heard like an
sound.
arena so
Nah,
loud?
That arena was wild.
TD Garden, man. I'm telling you, that was. I mean, unfortunately, Aljo lost, then but that was the loudest I've ever heard like a crowd before.
Yeah. Excuse me.
So how do you see this panning out? How do you see it playing out for Rob?
I think style wise, Rob's gonna have to get his hands on him. You know, I think O'Malley's just gonna be running. He's just playing defense, not letting Merab get his hands on him. But yeah, and he's gonna be trying to land that shot.
Yeah, that step back.
Merab's tough. Merab, if he does, I don't see him getting hit. Hopefully, but even if he does, he's a warrior, man. He's gotten hit by, a couple guys in his last couple fights, and he's been able to push through it. He figures out a way when he just loves fighting. Like I just like you see like when he got cut, he's like, and Dana shit all over him. It's like Dana doesn't realize Merab's been doing that since I met him. Like when I met him, he didn't really like speak English, so we didn't really like we didn't like know his personality.
Mm-hmm.
But as he learned more English, we were able to like wow, this guy's awesome.
Right.
But he would always, even like we'd follow him, he couldn't understand him. He'd go home from the gym, he'd have a black eye, he'd be like showing everybody. He just loves like fighting. He loves it's like a medal of honor for him.
Yeah.
He's like
Yeah.
he got cut, he's like, I'm preparing for this fight, I got cut, it's in the gym. And then Dana shits all over him. He's like, bro, that should be like, you should be like, isn't this guy awesome? Like he loves fighting. We should if everybody was like Merab, the world would be so much of a better place, and the UFC would be freaking crazy. Like he just loves being in the UFC. That's been his goal. The guy moved from the Republic of Georgia, to New York to chase this dream, and now he's there. It's like an inspiration to anyby at all walks of life.
Man.
It's like the craziest thing.
Absolutely,
So,
yeah.
I'm pulling for that guy. I think he's got a tough fight ahead of him, but this is what he's worked for. I think it's gonna all come together.
And his gas tank it's always full.
Yeah.
His gas tank is always full. He's just such a bulldog. It's insane.
Yeah, it's just a different like those mountain guys. He's like from the mountains. He's just a different breed.
Yeah.
His work, it's like nature and nurture. He's born with like a genetic cardio,
Yeah.
and he also outworks everybody. It's just crazy.
What you love to hear too. You know, especially you got a guy like that coming in, finally getting a shot, and he works hard to get there.
Yeah.
You love that.
Nothing's worse than wasted talent.
Yeah.
So to
Yeah,
hear
yeah.
someone who's got it and is putting the work in is awesome.
Well, you see Henry has Merab taking this fight too. Cejudo took
did he?
Merab, yeah.
Nice.
Cejudo took him. So other than Merab for Noche, what's your most exciting fight that you're going to see? Who are you most excited for?
Who else do we got on that card?
I mean, my personal favorite, Diego Lopez, Brian Ortega.
Oh yeah, that's a good fight.
That
Diego
was supposed to happen a
Lopez
couple
kinda-
weeks ago.
Yeah.
And he got, and what did, what's his name? Ortega got sick, right?
Something happened with
I
Ortega.
think
He
got
was acting
sick
like a
for the
little
fight.
weird. They said, right?
And Dan Yee came in and
Oh, that's right.
he kind of did something a little bit like a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit
he
of your
came-
action, dude.
He wasn't supposed to be fighting that night. I was actually fighting the night. You know, I was earlier in the card and I got bumped up to the main event. He just came out of the stands like 4
He
hours
was
before the
he
fight.
was
He's
sitting
like,
on his couch and they called him.
yeah.
And he's like, yeah, done.
Just happened to be, you know, he lives in Vegas. The fight was
Yep,
in
yep.
Vegas. He was like, all right, I'm in. It was pretty ballsy, but,
Dude,
you know.
could you imagine you just sitting there like watching Survivor and you get a call and it's like, hey man, like you got
You're
it.
the only one who'd be watching Survivor, bro.
I was just saying the
A guy loves reality TV and Aperol Spritz. It's insane.
What's wrong with it, dude? It's 2024, bro.
Survivor was all right. I haven't watched. I didn't know it was still on.
Dude,
You still watching
Survivor 44, baby.
Is
Coming up this
44
season.
seasons
Yeah,
of Survivor.
coming up,
A lot of Survivors out
September 17th, I want to say. Yeah.
It's not such a big feat anymore.
Yeah, right. Wow, I hate that you put it that way. It really sucks.
And you shook your head in agreement.
I did. Oh man.
What's that like getting an opponent on such short notice like that?
It was a whirlwind, man. That whole thing, and I'm sure Danny Gay probably feels the same way. That whole thing was just like a whirlwind. I was on the bus when McGregor threw the thing.
Dude.
That was like that weekend. If I ever have a crazier weekend than that, I don't know what the heck. But yeah, it was wild, bro. I was on the bus with McGregor threw the thing.
Yeah.
I was staring down with Paul Felder, who I was supposed to fight.
Yeah.
McGregor throws the thing through the window. Then we're all making weight. We make weight the next day. We find out Holloway's not going to make weight. So I was just like campaigning for it. And I probably wouldn't have got the fight if Conor didn't throw the thing through the bus because Mike Chiesa got cut and he was ranked ahead of me. So like everything just kind of like fell into place. It was just like the wildest thing. I didn't sleep like that whole weekend. Just adrenaline just carried me through. And you know, it was what it was. A tough fight on a short notice, but yeah, I relied on just years of training and experience and everything, and gave it everything. You know,
That's
I
it.
gave it just let it ride. You know, I didn't do too much like video preparing for it. I didn't have too much time, so I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna go in there. It's short notice for him too. He's facing me, who's you know different. It was a different style. I was fighting. I was a different style than he was fighting. But I was like, let's just let it ride, and yeah, fought my ass off. That was it. You know.
Yeah, that was amazing. I got a couple of Levittown fan questions today.
Oh.
One of them was, you know, you said you kind of just went with it. You didn't watch any film, but you know, when you were in the octagon, what's one secret? What was that one thing you were telling yourself the whole time?
Well, I just wanted to stay off the cage. I wanted to push forward, stay off the cage, because he's so good at getting guys against the cage, trips, takedowns, body locks, everything up against the cage. So I tried to go right after him, not take any step back. He dove in and shot a low single right in the middle of the cage, which I was like, I felt safe, you know? And then he dives in, he grabs my leg, and it kind of like flustered me. But I got, you know, it took me a little while to get in. That was, at the time, the biggest fight that I had been in. Biggest crowd, Barclays Center, sold out main event. It was like crazy. So it took me a little while to get like in the hang of it. And yeah, it just, I wasn't training for 5 rounds, so I didn't want to expend all my energy to get out and move. But it was just kind of like a balancing act on like doing enough, but really kind of saving myself in case it did go to later rounds, which it did. But it was his first 5-round fight too, so it was just like total uncharted territory for both of us, and yeah, that was a wild experience. It's crazy.
Drug the man through the trenches for the first time. I love it.
Yeah.
I love
it. Yeah, I was one shot away. I was right there, bro.
Well, it's like you said, man. It seemed to me like, I rewatched that fight. I've seen that fight so many times now at this point, and once the third round came, it seemed like you kind of settled in a little bit.
Definitely.
And that's when you guys started yapping a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you remember what you guys were talking about?
He was hitting me with the jab, and I was kind of like, I don't
You were
mind,
wearing
I
the
don't
jab, by
mind
the way.
getting hit. Yeah, I did.
You were accepting the jab. It looked like at one point.
And I wasn't really like trying to focus too much on his hands. I was kind of not letting him hit me, but I wasn't minding it too much. I didn't feel like he had too much power to where he was going to finish me like that. I just didn't want him to take me down.
Yep.
So I was almost like, he was like, "Oh, I hit you with 2 jabs." I was like, "Yeah, where's number 3?" And then I tried to like get him with something, and then he, there was a lot of talk about the jab back and forth. And then when he did get me down at the end of the 4th or 5th round against the cage, he was talking to Matt Serra. I was like, this motherfucker. I was like, oh man, and but he was like, Matt was yelling at me what to do, and Khabib was like, yes, this is good advice, and I'm like, shut the fuck up.
I'd be so mad, dude.
My arms were exhausted. I was like, and like I said, I didn't want to like just explode out and get tired because we were in like the 4th round, and I was like towards the end of the fight, but yeah, no, I mean, definitely like respectful, nothing too crazy, but
Well, he
definitely
immediately-
like fun talk.
He immediately went to show respect after round 3. And it looked like you thought he was like pushing you or something. Or you just weren't about it?
After
After the 3rd round.
Yeah, after the 3rd round, I kind of like pushed him off me, and then I was like, all right, I shouldn't. That was like a little unsportsmanlike.
Yeah.
I kind of regret. I pushed him, and I should have just like pushed him and left it and gone right back after
you went
him.
to walk back?
And then I was like, my bad. It was just unsportsmanlike. I'm sorry, kind of thing. And I shouldn't have said that. I should have just been like, fuck you. I kind of like, I don't know. I was I feel like that was like a mistake, but whatever.
Apologize when it's all over.
Yeah.
And he probably loved that.
Yeah.
He's probably like that. He probably would have done the same shit.
Yeah.
I was waiting for one of those elbows, man. I was waiting for one of those coming forward. Is that like your favorite thing to like when you were fighting? Is that like your go-to?
The elbows, I think the right hand, setting up
over
the
the
right
top.
hand. I like, ripping the body, looking low, and then come on over the top. Or I have a couple different ways that I like to set up the right hand. So I think that was like, I got some tricks.
I'm taking notes.
Hey man,
the left hook, just watch. Not the right hand.
we were, we're Levittown guys. You're a One10 guy. So, we've always heard the name, Iaquinta, and we grew up, John Villante, Chris Weidman. You had Aljo in the crew. You guys had a real solid like team back then.
No,
like,
for sure.
And and Stipe too, right? Stipe would come around.
Stipe would come around. We had Stipe down in Long Beach one night.
Oh, that
he was at the inn.
He was at the inn.
Yeah, we brought Stipe to the inn. It was like Villante, Stipe, and then a bunch of like One10 Long Beach crew. It was a fun night. Those guys get after it,
For sure.
They were like, they had like their shirts off. They're like bouncing off each other. Friggin' Villante, The guys friggin'
Vilante's a
awesome.
moose, dude,
Yeah.
just jumping around.
Yeah.
Imagine thinking you were a tough guy in Long Beach that night. Man,
Yeah.
that would-
But
yeah.
Villante, he was funny back then, man. He would just walk in. He would just walk into the bar and like.
So he
Like
like
the battle, you gotta stop that guy. You know what I mean? Like he had, I don't know. He's got.
Yeah, I think I've been in Minnesota's one time when he walked in. Interesting experience.
You want to hear a good story about Villante, actually? Now we're on the topic.
I don't want to hear a bad one.
Me and Joey, Giametta, he was a all-state wrestler.
At
and
MacArthur.
At MacArthur. Our age, 2010. I think Villante just had like a performance of the night or something like that. So we got like got the bonus.
Yeah.
We see him at it might have been the inn actually. We're in Long Beach. He comes up to me and Joey. He's like, "Yo, boys, like you want a shot?" We're like, "Yeah, dude, take the shot," and he just walks out. We look at the bartender. He's like, I'm like, "What the fuck was that?" He goes, "He does that." I'm like, "He does that?"
Yeah.
That was great though. I just looked at Joey. I was like, "What the hell was that?" But what was that like, man? What was like, one word training under Coach Ray Longo?
It was like family.
Love that.
Yeah, like everybody was so tight. back then. It was like I feel like we really had something that no other gym had. You know, a lot of the gyms were like big powerhouse gyms. They had investors that put a lot of money into it. They'd recruit guys from all over. We were just guys from like regular guys from Long Island that found the gym, you know, had a tight-knit wrestling community. We all ended up at Ray's. Aljo was upstate, and Chris saw him at a fight, and he was like, yo, why don't you come train with us? You know, we're right around the block. We're like not even a mile from his house in Uniondale. We're like right around the block from him. So he came down, and it was like everybody just kind of, it all kind of came together. Merab came in. Not a lot of people like fit the mold. You know, Ray would, a lot of coaches, if you're a talented fighter, he'll like try to bring you in and like recruit you. And Ray was really the opposite. Like if you were a good fighter, he kind of like, unless you had that same mentality and like the Long Island mindset, and you could like, it was really like, could I hang out with this person? Like, could I trust this person? And if he could, then if you could fight, then, you know, if you can last the training sessions, and if you can like get in the crew and like really fit in, and that's I think what really, you know, for such a small, like Long Island, such a small area to have 3 champions and like now, so you know, maybe number 4. It was just such a cool time, and it was almost like if you get in with Ray, then Ray's like, all right, now you got to get your jiu-jitsu going. You go over the mat, and you got to get through that. And, you know, it's like, you know, you're like, to break in and really, like, fit the mold and excel with the team. I think that was, like, you know, if you could do that, the UFC. And he would always say, like, he was like, Al, these guys in the UFC, like, I see them in the back. Like, they're retarded. Like, like, yeah, something like that. Don't quote me on it, but
He whispered like the mic wasn't going to catch it.
Yeah. But yeah, he was like, these guys, you see them on TV and they look so great, but like half of them, they're not. You know, don't hold them up on a pedestal. And I think breaking it, like being on Team Serra Longo and getting in with those guys and excelling on that team, you know, then you go to the ring of combat. Like he had the formula set. It was like if you just shut up, do what, just do. You don't have to think. You go to the ring of combat, you get your fights in. You know, then when Ray and Matt says you're ready, then you know you're ready. Like ready. You don't want to be saying, oh, you know, tweeting to the UFC. It's like, yo, when Matt and Ray say you're ready, that's when you know that you're ready. So I was always like, I was looking up to them. I was like, I won my first fight, and I was like, what'd you guys think? They're like, yeah, it was a great fight. Get ready for the next one, second, third, and then Ray was like, yeah, you know, we got the Ultimate Fighters coming up. I think you should try out for it. And I was like, yo, what the fuck? I was like, Ray Longo's telling me I should try out for the Ultimate Fighter. So that gave me just so much confidence, you know, to put in the work and then see this guy that's had Matt Serra as a champion, Chris Weidman, and now he's telling me I'm ready for the UFC. Like he trusted me. He's like,
crazy.
He was like, yeah, and it just gives you so much confidence, you know.
All right, so the entrees are out. We're digging in. Oh, yeah. What do we got so far? We got
Talk about it, kid.
I got the halibut over lobster risotto. Al got the filet with mashed potatoes and asparagus. Franco got the New York strip. And they brought out some potato croquettes with cheese fondue and black caviar on top.
Stop. Talk to
you guys got to grab these right now before we start. I want to go to real estate for a second. Everybody always wants to talk about the interest rates, right? And right now, I think the 30-year fixed mortgage rate was around 6.5 when I looked last. What's next? Do you think they're going higher? You think they're going lower? What's your forecast prediction?
I have no idea. I don't think anybody knows. They've been saying forever that they're coming down, and they have come down a little bit. So, you know, we'll see in September what happens. But I think you know, they should come down. I think, especially with the election coming up, right? Usually it has an impact on something.
Of course.
So I think we'll see them come down a little bit, which should, you know, even out the market a little bit. A little bit more inventory would be nice. House goes on the market right now. It's like a feeding frenzy. It's crazy. Buyers, you know, over asking price, waiving inspection, waiving appraisal, waiving everything. It's like, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. But I'm all for it. It's definitely an interesting time For sure. I mean, I haven't been in. There's people that have been in the game longer than me, and you know, I've been selling real estate now for like 9 years, so I've really been. Yeah, and so a lot of that time I was distracted with fighting and stuff, but yeah, I've never seen anything like it. It's pretty wild, you know.
So, more specifically, Long Island. What's your prediction for where the Long Island market is headed? Because I know you mentioned that maybe it'll ease things up. There's always these bidding wars, but if interest rates go any lower, people are going to be even more inclined to pay more money for a house, right? So wouldn't that lead to more bidding wars?
I don't. So the reason people are paying so much right now is because there's no inventory, and people aren't putting their house on the market because they have low interest rates, right? So like you bought a house a couple of years ago, you have a 3% interest rate. Now they're at 7, 7. Now they're a little down, but they were at 7, over 7. You sell your house at 3, and then you buy, even if you want to downsize, right? You have $1 million house, you want to go down to like a smaller house, your kids are grown, they're out of the house, you want to downsize. Unless you buy cash, you're going to be paying 7% interest rate on a cheaper house. That payment's going to be the same. So it's like you're not going to go anywhere. So everything's tight. No one's selling. So there's less inventory for all these buyers. People are still buying. First-time home buyers. Everyone's still out there in the market looking to buy. And they're kind of like scraping together money to make it happen. But I think the interest rates come down, more people will be apt to kind of loosen up and like, all right, maybe I'll pay 5%, 5.5%, 6%. I'll sell my house. I'll move to somewhere new. A lot more movement, and that'll, I think, bring. Initially, probably the prices would go up a little bit, because all those buyers that have been sitting waiting for the interest rates to go down. But then eventually, it would kind of even each other out, and I think the prices will come down a little bit, or at least won't be such a bidding war. It won't be so crazy for buyers. Like my sister was looking to buy a house. She did end up buying a house, but it was like war. A house would come on the market Thursday. We'd be like, all right, Saturday we're seeing this one, we're seeing this one, we're seeing this one. Line out the door, and they were like, I'll put an offer in on. They'll put an offer. If there's like a house that they just kind of like, they're like, we'll put an offer on it, $100,000 over asking price, waiving the appraisal contingency. If it doesn't appraise, we'll pay the difference in cash, and. Oh, we're sorry, we went with a higher offer. You're like, yo, what?
Yeah.
It's crazy. I was working with an agent out of state, and it got to the point where, like, as soon as he would send me a house, if I was interested, he's like, all right, let's put an offer on it right now. He's like, by the time we go see it, it's going to be sold already. It was incredible. I was just, without even seeing it, I was putting offers in, and I was like, we'll figure it out later, Because, I mean, until you sign that initial contract, you could back out anything, right? So
it made it difficult for a lot of sellers, too. Sellers would have 10 offers, 15 offers, and a lot of them were doing the same thing. They were just throwing numbers out there, doing an inspection, maybe try to get the price lowered. And there was a lot of buyers that would put in offers and then back out, or they'd put in 4 offers on 4 different properties, get one of them, and then the 3 of them. So you would like, you have a sell, you accept an offer, boom, that buyer's out. They found a different house. But so it was just like, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't been in the game that long to where I don't know if I've seen anything like it, but it's just, the whole thing was just wild. It still is, it still is. I mean, with the rates coming down a little bit, it's a little, but yeah, it's just wild.
But a tumultuous market like this, I mean, in the long run, it's a blessing, because you're probably learning so much more now than you would if, things were all fine and dandy and wasn't crazy. This is forcing you probably to learn at a faster pace, right?
If you're working for the seller, it's like easy. You could be like a middle school kid, put the house on the market, not even know it's like, oh, this, you could pick one offer and it's good. But with buyers, it's like you're freaking working, you're taking buyers out to see 20, 30 houses, putting in like 15, 20 offers, crazy numbers. And a lot of buyers too, they don't understand, like if someone bought a house, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, and now they want to buy a house, they're listening to their parents. A lot of buyers, first-time home buyers, they're listening to their parents.
Which is like the first mistake.
It's like, yeah. The parents are like, it's like, oh, well, we'll go asking price. It's like, dude, you're not getting the house.
Wasting your
It's
time.
like, and then they're like, all right, we'll go 10,000 over, and they don't get the house. And it's like, well, I told you, we got to be like at least 60, 70 over, to even like think about it. depending on the price range. If it's in like that 700, 800 price range, you gotta go. You know, you gotta once you get a little higher, then it's not so much. But yeah, it depends on the property, and then agents are listing the house super low to create that bidding war. So it's you really got to be on top of it. But I forgot where I was even going with that. But you know, shit's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's insane.
What got you into like the real estate 9 years ago? I mean, middle of your fight career, right?
I got hurt.
Okay.
And I had bought a house. And I liked the process of like looking on Zillow, see what I could afford, going out, seeing the houses, and Urijah Faber was my coach on The Ultimate Fighter, and he was big in real estate. And on The Ultimate Fighter, he was always like, you know, you're gonna win some money fighting, take that money, invest it in real estate. I saw what he did. I went out and trained with him in Sacramento, and he owned a whole block of houses. Back when they were giving mortgages out to anybody, 2008, 2007,
was that a top team?
Oh, before the collapse?
Yeah, well, that's what he got. That's when he bought all these houses. You know, he was taking out mortgages, but he'd rent them out to his fighters, the fighters with the gym. So like he had the whole block was like
Such a smart idea.
Such a smart idea, and he
Neighbors
just
were
kinda
feeling
like,
safe for sure.
Oh, dude.
I mean, there were no names. It was all just the whole
yeah,
block was just like his guys, you know. And I saw that, and I was like, this is the coolest thing, you know. I saw what he had out there, and I went out there, trained with him, and he definitely kind of like took me under his wing in a lot of ways, and showed me what that whole thing was about. So when I got hurt, I was like, I had nothing to do. I was like, I crutched my way into the real estate test. I got my license, and then ended up going back to fighting, but always like kind of had a lot of interest in it.
You passed first time?
I passed the first time.
Dude, I didn't even study. I failed the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's the best way to do it.
You
Right?
gotta study.
So then the second time I was like, all right, I'm wasting my time and money. I should probably open a book and check it out. But how many
tests
doors
are-
do you have now? Do you
So-
like that term, by the way? I know all these social media gurus, they're all about the doors.
Yeah, well, I mean, having doors is good, you know, but it's really, you know, it's if you're not making, you know, if you're not cash flowing, the more you can cash flow, the less doors you need and the less headache, you know. So it's kind of like a balancing act on profitability, and also not having, you know, if you have a property management company, I guess it's, but I do a lot of the management. I do most of it myself. My mother helps me a lot. My mother can do everything. She's sick.
She had a background in real estate, or she kind of
No,
just hopped in and was
no,
like,
she
Mama's
just-
going to help?
Yeah, she can fit. If I have a problem, like, Ma, this happened. Something happened with the freaking the toilet, the heat system, something, and she'll be like, oh, let me go check it out. She goes to work in 2 seconds later. My friends are like, one of my friends is renting a house, one of my houses, and he's like, bro, your mom was over here, best woman I've ever met in my life. I was like, bro, she's incredible. She can do like anything. But so I have a lot of help with her. She's incredible and helps me out a lot. But I think so. I have 2 rental houses, multifamily.
Nice.
One has 3, is a 3 family, and then one's a 2 family, but kind of 3. So, but they do very well. I do a little bit of Airbnb, a little bit of long-term rentals, and it kind of works out really good. So, cash flowing pretty good with those. Been doing good. So everything's flowing nice. So it's been good.
New York's done with Airbnb, right? Isn't there no New York Airbnbs anymore? Or?
Well, Manhattan definitely not.
Oh, Manhattan.
Yeah,
Right.
It
Manhattan.
depends on the municipality.
Yep.
I think certain areas, they allow it.
Yeah, Long Island's like a little gray area as well.
So speaking of short-term, long-term, you know, what do you think is the bread and butter for a new investor coming into the game? What would you recommend they do first to get their feet wet in investing?
I think you really got to find. Well, you got to pick what. You kind of fall into it. I think you got to have like a niche. Like there's some people that do short-term rentals and they crush it. There's some people that do long-term rentals and they crush it. It's like you got to find your niche. Some people flip houses. Some people buy, renovate, sell, rehab. You know, rent it out. There's all different.
Flips are so exciting, man. I feel like you just when you hit, you feel like you hit a home run.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like that rush is a little addicting.
See, that's.
Yep. It's like you get
Yeah,
one in your pocket.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a big hit, or I don't know.
Right,
You know
it
what I
could be a
mean? Like,
strikeout.
yeah,
Yeah,
kinda
Yeah.
like,
It's not a home run. You're like, ah.
Yeah.
But like that's the thing. If you want to do that, there are guys. Like, it's always funny when someone comes up to me and they're like, "Oh, you know, I want to get into fix and flipping. I want to buy a house or a foreclosure. I want to buy a foreclosure, and I want to renovate it and sell it. And I'm like, okay, there's people that every single day are doing this, and they do 100 of them a year, and you're competing with that person. And they're probably going to figure out how to get it faster, cheaper. They're going to get the work done. They probably have a contracting company that's doing it. It's like if you want to, you can't just fix and flip a house. You might be able to like hit a home run, like, but to do it on like a consistent basis or like even like to do it the first time and think you're going to make $100,000 or whatever. Like people think it's just like they watch it on TV and it looks so great. It's like, all right, it's like unless you find the perfect property, which it can happen, but you're competing against these guys that are like, they eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff. So it's like you really got to find your niche, what you want to do. You got to research it. You got to do a lot of work.
feeding them deals.
Yeah,
they already have the pipeline set up.
And like even if you lose a little bit on the first house, which the way I look at it, it's like a college education. How much does a college education cost?
Too much.
Exactly. So like if you flip a house, and Aljamain Sterling, he flipped a house in Arizona, and he like broke even maybe, and he was kind of like upset about it or whatever. But thinking back now, and we talk about it all the time, and it was like that was like he learned so much, and the time, stress, energy, and everything that he put into that to really not get much out of it. It was like a free college. It was like he didn't spend, he broke even. So you got to kind of be ready for that. It's like it's very, very hard. People do it, but a lot of times they'll keep looking for that home run property, and it's just not going to happen. You got to really put in work. You got to really, you got to go to college. You got to, when I first got into real estate, I was obsessed. I was obsessed with the process and learning everything.
I've just been consuming podcasts. I heard you randomly on David Greene's new podcast the other day.
Right.
I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah.
So do you know him personally, or were you just shouting? Okay, so how'd you guys
How did
connect?
become friendly with him? He was at a UFC event.
Is he handsome homebuyer?
No, David Greene, he's from Bigger Pockets.
Bigger Pockets,
He now
right,
left
Bigger
Bigger
Pockets.
Pockets. He has his own real estate called the Real Talk Radio Show.
Yeah.
Dude, I find him so insightful, and I think he's got, his voice was made for being a podcast host. But go ahead, how'd you guys connect?
It just kind of like, we have mutual friends, a guy that trains, Nicky Knuckles.
Nicky Knuckles.
Nicky Knuckles. He trains at Serra's. And then he moved out to Chicago, and he's big in the investment world. He has a podcast, the A Game podcast, and he introduced me a while back. And then he was at a UFC fight. He went to one of the fights where he went to.
Oh, he does BJJ on the side.
And he does jiu-jitsu, so it kind of just like all flowed together. But yeah, so anytime you can pick that guy's mind. He owns a real estate brokerage. In California.
A bunch of businesses.
Yeah.
He was rattling them off on the podcast the other day.
Mortgage company, fix and flip, he does everything. And that's the great thing about real estate is that you can really, there's so many like little off spins and like little different avenues. You can just you establish yourself here, maybe you do a little mortgage, then you do a little bit of this, you do a little bit of that, and that's cool.
And you know what it is? Money makes money. So once you get that first deal or things start, snowballing for you, you can't stop. Just put your head down and keep grinding.
Yeah.
One thing leads to another.
I relate it to fighting a lot. I think it's like, but fighting has a shelf life. Real estate you can do forever.
For sure.
There's no, you can do that. I know guys that are like in their 80s and they're still freaking, it's like, why are you still doing this? They just love it, They just love
passive income.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still
you mean
buying
get punched in the face is not passive income?
It's about as far as you can get, It's crazy.
Before we get to the dessert, I want to ask you one question, another fan question. They want to know, let me pull it up here. Give me a second, Frank.
Do you think? Take your time. You've been talking to Zero. You haven't even given him a second to eat a steak.
I get excited about. First off,
this is good. We're talking.
No, he's so
fighting
excited.
in real estate. Like,
No,
it's
UFC
perfect. Real
exactly.
estate, steak, fighting. What the freak, guys? This is best podcast ever.
That's it.
Chandler.
Chandler.
So they want to know Now that Dex works for the MTA, who's cutting your hair?
We were just talking about
Wow,
that.
that's crazy. We were just talking about that. I go to Strong Island Styles. Brian at Strong Island Styles. Biz. During COVID, went to him once. He's a big UFC. He cuts Connor's hair, and like when Izzy, did you hear when Israel Adesanya got arrested for the brass knuckles?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got arrested over here.
Yeah. It was my barber that gave him the brass knuckles.
I'm pretty sure one of our boys actually was the one that like picked him up.
Oh,
Really?
yeah?
Yeah, I'm actually pretty sure. Right? Am I wrong?
I feel like someone mentioned.
Yeah, I feel like someone put it in the chat. We have a group chat like with 22 guys, dude,
Yeah.
and 18 of them are cops. So it's like one of them was like, "Hey, Izzy." I'm like, "Fuck, no way."
Yeah, yeah. So
that's
it
one
was
of the good
funny. I was getting my hair cut, and he was telling me, yeah, I know he's like a brass knuckles guy. So he's telling, I was like, whatever he told me, whatever. I don't know. We're gonna have to ask him if we're gonna have to. I hope we don't have to cut this. But
We gotta hit up Biz before we
yeah.
put this out.
But so I like knew, and then one of my friends texted me. He was like, and he doesn't know that he doesn't know about the brass knuckles or anything. He was just like, yo, look at this, and I see Israel Adesanya arrested for brass knuckles, and I was like, holy shit. I was like, I knew exactly what happened. I texted Biz right away. I was like, yo, I don't think he even answered me for like a day.
Oh,
He
his
was-
heart probably sank to
he
his
was
nuts,
probably
dude.
like, yo, what? So yeah, but he's he likes the fighting. He was like, it's one of those spots. I drive like 30 minutes, 40 minutes to get a haircut, but I enjoy I like going there. You hang out, you're talking to everybody. He's a riot, we're talking about the fighting and everything. It's like, it's like a cool spot. And then he owns hunts in Locust Valley too. So I'm like, yo, Biz, I need a haircut. Where am I going today? I was, I got you. Come to hunts. And yeah, no, he's a cool dude. It takes me a little while to get my hair cut, but it's a little bit of a drive. It's actually like, I enjoy haircut days. Like today, I drove, I was on the phone. Not that I was texting and driving or anything, but I was, I get my calls. I'm like calling people on the way. I get my phone calls done. I get like 40 minutes to make phone calls. I catch up on my phone calls. I get the haircut. I'm like relaxing, shooting the shit with the guys and everything. And then I drive back and do the same thing. So it's like, it's a good day.
How,
It's like a
how long
guy's
is?
pamper day. It's like
Yeah.
getting a little
Of
pampered.
course, I look forward
Yeah.
every Thursday. My haircut's like 30 minutes in and out, but like how long do you think is too long for a haircut? Last question before dessert.
It depends,
If I'm in there for any more than 45 minutes, dude,
No.
I'm starting.
Well, you mean like waiting and then get the haircut?
no, like you're sitting in the chair, like
Oh, yeah,
oh,
yeah.
no, like
Button on to button off.
yeah, button on, button off.
Probably like after 20. I mean, it depends what kind of haircut you're getting, but like I
That's
think
how
like
big your head is.
it depends on how much hair you have, how big your head is.
Well, they charge Franco extra for his head.
You charge double. So, bro, it's like
I only got
it's a
two
lot of
notches
hair.
left.
Bro, you're actually ripping them off when you get a haircut. You're like, they're doing twice the work for
Twice the work,
That's
literally.
fucking sick.
That's why it takes Bert
Yeah.
45 minutes on my head.
Yeah. It's the people with the small heads, they get fucked. They have to pay for a regular size head.
Yeah,
They get-
I'm the issue.
the barber's like, sick. This guy's got 3 hairs on his head. Just get him out.
Yeah, it's like my friend that asked the question. He's got no hair in his head. I'm like, what are you asking this
Really?
question
That's
for?
great.
No, I mean, he has hair, but he's losing it. I don't know.
I was listening to Rogan and he was shitting on the barbershops. I was like, dude, what?
What was he
you got
saying?
No hair.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's like,
Oh, that too.
He was like, the barbershop culture is for guys that just never learned how to play pool. Well, cause like you bullshit in the pool hall.
Yeah.
It's like totally different. So I was like, but I was like, you can't be the one, like.
Who the fuck plays pool anymore?
I know.
He's comparing the barbershops like what you see on movies. Like,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
people walk in, they sit there and hang out all day. Like, that's not a fucking thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
or is it? Somewhere.
I mean,
It could, I guess somewhere.
to an extent, but I think he hasn't maybe been to
Very
in a long time, so
yeah,
he
so it's
doesn't
like
really.
Fear Factor.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
probably thinking of that Jake Gyllenhaal McGregor movie. They were in the pool hall there, weren't they?
I still haven't seen that.
I
wanna
haven't
see
either.
that movie.
I heard it was trash.
I don't think I've like watched like I watch movies at home like on Netflix and stuff, but like to actually like go. Is that a thing anymore? To like go to movies?
Yeah, people go.
I can't tell you the last movie I've been to. Actually, like I think Top Gun was the last movie I saw.
That
in
is the
theater.
last. I think that's the last one you went to. But to answer your question, if I'm in the chair for more than 30 minutes,
Yeah.
that's a long haircut.
Yeah, 30
I'll
minutes
give
is
you
long.
up to 30 minutes, but like really 20, 25 minutes, my
you-
hair's receding anyway, so
He's got the curls in the back though right now.
I get the garage doors coming in.
Let's eat some dessert.
All right, dessert
Yeah,
has been
dude.
served. We got the Nutella Rocher panna cotta.
Which looked unbelievable, by the way. When she said Rocher, I was like sold.
It has chocolate mousse cake, hazelnut shavings, chocolate shavings. Then we got Franco's favorite, the banana cream pie. The banana is torched and bruleed over a cookie with banana mousse. Then we have the Zeppelis with powdered sugar, Nutella, and cranberry and strawberry sauce. We got a little affogato over here. The boys got the espresso martinis.
Right
I
here.
got the straight up
Oh, yeah.
espresso.
Right here.
I'll still cheers you
There
though.
we go, get in there.
Cheers.
All right, so I want to bring it back just to UFC just for a little bit. I got 2 fights that I want to pick your brain about. Is Stipe and Jon Jones happening? And is Chandler McGregor happening? What do you think? What's your thoughts on that?
I think Jones and Stipe is going to happen. Chandler and Connor at this point, I don't know.
I mean, if
Seems
you were
like-
McGregor, would you fight again? Like,
Yeah,
you have
I
all
mean-
that money, like,
I think he's done.
But then at the same time,
but you got the
what
itch.
else are you doing?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's
other
not
than
like you're-
sliding down slides on the side of your yacht.
You saw that? I saw that today. I mean, I guess, yeah, I don't know. I would like to see both of them.
Right.
I think both fights. The Jones Stipe, not that it's holding up the division, but it's kind of like that's like,
It's a long time coming.
yeah. And I can't stand to hear freaking Dana White say one more time how much he loves Jon Jones.
Dude.
It's like, bro,
I know you're a Stipe guy, so is Jones not the GOAT?
that's such a, you really can't win with like no matter who you, I think he is, but I think Islam's catching up to him.
Yep.
Islam's active, he's young, he's fighting guys in different weight classes. Definitely starting to clear out the division to where he can start looking at 170.
Which is nuts to think about.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he's going to be a moose at
he's
170.
He's big. He's big for 155. He cuts a lot of weight.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it, man. I don't know how you
Yeah.
guys did it. I don't.
It's I mean, it's like that's just what it is. It's part of the whole thing. With Bilal being the champ at 170, though, I don't think they're training partners.
Yeah, they're
So
not
I don't
gonna
think
fight.
it wouldn't happen. But if Leon was the champ, I think he could go up there and probably do pretty well against him.
Bilal's
So,
a tough fight, man.
Yeah.
Bilal's such a tough fight. Everyone says he's such a boring fighter. I'm like, dude, it's MMA, man. Like, you want to watch people throw punches, go watch a boxing match.
Yeah. He wins. He's a winner.
That's it. So, you always get the question: is Jon Jones the GOAT? Is Jon Jones the pound for pound, number one fighter? I want to know who would be on your UFC Mount Rushmore. Just 4 faces that really brought UFC to where it's at today.
I think GSP's Jon Jones. GSP, how does Dana not like he's talked about Jon Jones 9,000 times. I don't think GSP's lost a fight that he didn't win back.
Yeah, I think you're right about that actually.
So
GSP,
he's-
bro, growing up was
any
like,
fight, yeah, like
I was wearing freaking Affliction GSP shirts back in the day.
Yeah.
I've never been a fighter. Like,
yeah. Dana kind
kidding
of
me?
hasn't really mentioned him too much in that whole thing, but then he goes up in weight. He beats Bisping like in the twilight of his career. After being off for so long, that's like he's got to be up there. Probably have to be, because it's hard. You got to really think like, it's hard with the different generations and like you think of like who's hot now, who's at the top. Like you could, throw Khabib on there, but then there's guys like, and it sucks because there's guys like Anderson Silva. There's guys like, even Weidman at a time. It's just like a lot of guys
they won't get their flowers, kind of.
they don't just bow out at the when they're
Matt
on
Hughes.
top like Matt Hughes, like
Rich Franklin, I could go
Rich
for days with these
Franklin,
names.
Khabib left too early.
Fedor was like-
dude.
Yeah.
Khabib left too early, and a guy like Silva stayed too long.
It's like I have Ronda on that Mount Rushmore. Like just because,
Yeah.
of, like for me, like what she did for the sport. I was actually at the fight when Holly Holm knocked her out.
Oh, wow.
Villante was fighting that day in
yeah.
Australia. I was
Yup.
playing baseball in Australia. He was fighting over there, and he got me tickets.
That's
And,
crazy.
dude. Yeah, just
That's
happened to so
sick.
we were both in Melbourne at the same time.
Wow.
And that was crazy, man. That's when I fell in love with Joanna Young Jetrick. That was the first time
Oh,
I saw
yeah.
her. I was like, fuck. Love that girl.
So if Ngannou stuck around, would Jones have beat him?
I kind of think so.
That's a tough fight.
I kind of think he's
For
his
Ngannou,
I think his wrestling gets it done. I think Jon Jones wrestling in that fight is the X factor.
Mm-hmm.
As long as he doesn't get hit by one of those bombs, you know. And I think he's long enough, he's technical enough to where he gets it to the floor. I think his wrestling's just on a whole nother level. But he is fighting a guy that's freaking huge. It's yeah, that's one you could talk about all day on many different ways. I think Jon Jones has proven that I mean, he took down Cyril Gane like it was nothing.
Nothing.
Like crazy.
Like he was
right?
like he was a puppet.
Yeah.
People were talking Gone up like
Yep.
crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Jon Jones is such an interesting character. Like, doesn't even train for Gustafson's, probably like out doing freaking all kind of debauchery the night before the fight, goes in there and does that. And then now still in the game, what is he? He's got to be like, I think he's like 37, 38, all right? Mm-hmm. And he could still go in there and against Stipe, you know, who knows? But yeah, I mean, just natural ability. Like the guy was just built for like MMA. He was not the greatest collegiate wrestler. Great wrestler. Probably, I guess probably maybe like grades held him back. Probably he was at like a community college for a while, right?
Was he a
And then-
Utica guy? Not Utica.
He was a Syracuse guy?
Yeah,
he went
Syracuse. He was up there.
He wrestled at Iowa Central, which is like one of the top community colleges. He won a national title there, and then yeah, I don't know what he did after that. I think he might have just gone like to fighting, but like just took to fighting and just freaking like crazy, yeah. And then all the extracurricular stuff, the picograms and like this and that, you know what I mean? Like, and all the arrests and craziness, like pretty wild ride that guy's had.
And to still get it done.
And still get it done.
And to
And
still,
still
have
be
a-
undefeated.
And to still have a job.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, in the UFC.
Yeah, like, you kidding me? Anywhere else?
No, he could never have. That's a guy that could never do anything else.
Yeah, I do have to vent a little bit about the UFC. I love Dana White. I love the UFC. I love what it's about. I just feel like, to me, the whole like letting opponents come in the ring after you just went 5 rounds, you're gassed, and now someone's gonna get in my face about a fight that's coming up next. It's all about the money. It's all about the show. But that's very WWE-esque to me. Like
TKO,
in a real combat sport.
Yeah.
That should never fly. That's my only beef with UFC, is that kind of stuff goes on. I don't know. I just need to vent.
No, when they did it with Aljo, it was freaking. That was bullshit.
Yeah.
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
And and what? You never, like, after seeing the Khabib and McGregor shit go down.
Yeah.
What? Someone's gonna go swing on a guy that just fought 5 rounds. He's probably, what injuries he's got going on. To me, I don't like the way that is.
I'm with you. I'm with you. They should, and it's when it works in the favor, they go, oh, we don't make fights the night of the fight. And then when it works in their favor, it's like, oh, Aljo's fighting freaking Sean O'Malley in 3 weeks. Like, what the guy just fought 5 rounds.
Yeah.
Can you give the guy a freaking? Can the guy get the guy a beer? Will you?
Yeah.
Give him a fucking break. Yeah, come on.
Yeah. So when you were training, you were going through camp. What was your favorite cheat meal, or what was your first meal like that you were looking forward to after you made weight?
I always enjoyed. I'd have a glass of wine like the night. Like we'd all go out to dinner, and I'd have 1 glass of wine, and it was like, I don't know where I started doing it or whatever, but we'd always go to like a nice Italian place. I wouldn't go crazy with the food. I just, you're still like, you can't just go crazy, so it's not like I'm eating ice cream or anything, but I'd have just like a little ice cream, and I'd have 1 glass of wine. It'd put me to sleep. I'd sleep good, wake up, and then it was fight day the next day. But it was, I think after the fight, it was like I'd just overdose on ice cream.
Oh yeah, just pound
I'd
pound.
eat ice cream cake and just like, it was disgusting. Like if if it ever came to it, and I was like, I'm ending it all, I would just eat myself to death with ice cream. I could just eat ice cream cake, Carvel with the crunchies, with the
bro.
icing on the.
That's all
you
day.
know?
That's
Like
all-
that. I would just sit in my room in like a dark, like I could turn on, just freaking just pound ice cream.
The
I
Crunchy
do-
Professor and the M&Ms.
I've almost done it. I lost a couple fights, and I sit and I was like, "Is this it?" Freaking- I go to Dunkin' Donuts. I'm like getting freaking the Baskin Robbins. The guy's like, "Dude, you all right?"
Been better, bro.
You've been here 3 times in the last 3 hours. I drove around the block, ate it, dude.
He's like, I won that tournament.
Yeah, but like the ice cream, nothing tastes better when when you win a fight and you just freaking, you're like, oh, it's like the best. You know, there's no ice cream has ever tasted better than after I won a fight and like nothing matters. You got a little money in your pocket. You freaking, you know, that's a good feeling. So that was my thing.
Tell you.
Sure.
I got 2 more for you. I want your top 3 if you can give me your top 3. But I want your favorite boxing/fighting movies.
Oh, boxing/fighting movies.
So like MMA type movies.
Any sort of combat sport.
Yeah.
movie.
Yep.
Huh. I'm not gonna be good with this.
He did say he wasn't a real
no, I
movie
know.
guy.
Yeah,
I
I'm
know.
not like
I
a
know.
good. I mean, like definitely not a Steven Seagal.
Not a Steven Seagal.
I can't. Steven Seagal was like, it was like he played the same guy in
Yeah, I
every
saw
movie.
that on one of your.
Yeah. Oh, what did I say? Oh, was it?
Something about the Steven Seagal
Steven
shit.
Seagal, yeah.
That one reel that's been floating around about him asking if they could turn the cameras off when he's working with Poton. Like that was funny.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, he's like showing like little moves, and then he gets to one. He's like, does he have to be filming at this point? He wants to like show him
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm like, I want to say like you don't need to show Potan anything else.
No,
Yeah, we're
like,
good.
Yeah.
Speaking
No,
of
this-
that dude just fights, bro. He's fighting Khalil Rountree,
Yeah.
like out of nowhere, which is gonna be a pretty tough fight.
Yeah,
But
that was an interesting. I didn't expect to see that fight made next.
Khalil fails a drug test, and then he's ranked what, number 8?
Yeah.
And Pereira's like, yeah, I'll fight him.
Yeah. Well, I guess the timing like worked out or whatever
Yeah.
to where it was.
You know what's funny? After seeing Potan get laid out on the mat by Izzy,
Yeah.
I feel like people just went right back to fearing him again.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, he just decided not to cut weight like that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went up and he, what's his name? He knocked out in the last. I mean, what is he now on a 2-fight freaking knockout streak?
Pereira, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was Yuri. It was Hill.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jamal
Hill.
Hill.
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
Yeah, it's a scary dude, and I think he's. People are like, Chael Sonnen said that O'Malley's like the #1 guy, like promotion-wise with the UFC. I'm like,
I don't know.
Pereira's the guy. Like that guy. I don't think O'Malley. I don't know. Aljo said his numbers weren't great when he fought him, and I don't know if people are too into him. I think that's kind of like, I don't know. The UFC is more into him than the fans.
He's
I think.
cringe. He's cringe on,
He's
on
cringe.
on
Yeah.
social media.
Yeah.
But, like, you know what's funny? Like I wanted to like him, and I liked him before. Like I was following him on social media and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, you know, it's cool that he sits there. He smokes joints. He smokes blunts. I'm like, I could be boys with this guy. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I'm like, I don't even know if I want to hang out with him.
Yeah.
Right? You know, like,
yeah.
That is crazy. You know, I was wondering too. I think X got banned in Brazil.
I did
Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
So I immediately thought to myself, like, Brazil is huge for the UFC, and obviously on fight nights and stuff, X is
yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
I was wondering, you know, how that's going to shake up, you know, the fan base in Brazil for the UFC. That was a quick thought I had.
Did you hear anything like why they did that? And
It was something with Elon Musk and the team at X not getting certain legal documentation or legal representation in order that Brazil requires.
interesting.
That's all I know. It was something silly like that. I wish I knew more, but to me, the thought immediately went to the UFC. 'cause, I mean,
Yeah.
the guy's from Brazil. I mean,
Yeah.
Brazil loves UFC. So I was like, on fight night, that's going to be a little weird without the tweets coming from.
Yeah.
Brazil.
If you're in Brazil and you're watching, you know,
Yeah.
that's like a huge part of like the culture is
Huge,
people,
man.
you know,
Yeah.
Brazilians. I'm sure that gets people into it. I'm gonna do a deep dive on YouTube tonight on why that's the X is.
Let us
I'm
know.
Curious. I'm curious why that. That's what I do. I just I'm
Rabbit holes, man.
something like gets me interested. I gotta figure out why is X banned in, because it's like Brazil there. I mean, who knows, right?
Yeah.
Freaking crazy.
But before Franco finishes up, just let everyone know where they can find you.
At Iaquinta on Twitter, on Instagram, iaquintarealestate.com. I think that's it, man.
There you go.
That's
Nice
it.
and
Nice and
easy.
easy.
Nice and easy.
That's it.
One person, dead or alive, that you could sit down to dinner with, ask any questions to, they got an answer. Who would it be?
I was gonna have dinner with anybody,
Dead or alive?
dead or alive. Right now, there's so many different people. Like,
So many different people running through your head.
yeah, there's like who's the one person? Like, do I want to have like if I wanted to like die laughing all night, I'd be like Theo Von, or like if I wanted, or like do I want to be super motivated? I'd go with like a Wayne Gretzky or like Michael Jordan.
We haven't gotten any of these three yet so far.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Then fighters. Well, then I'm like, do I just want to like hang out with my friends? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Joe Rogan would be cool.
Yep.
Donald Trump would be cool. Like, just sit there and like
Shit, can we
listen
just get
to
all those guys
Urijah,
together? Are you
like,
kidding
could
me?
you imagine all? Like, I feel
God
like if I
damn.
was eating with Donald Trump, I feel like I've eaten dinner with Donald Trump. Like, all I need to do is put on like one of his rallies.
Yeah.
And I feel like it would be the same thing at dinner. We would just be sitting there and he'd be like she doing this, she did this, you know? It would just be the same thing. Probably there's so many different ways. It depends how I'm feeling. Like we said before, can't plan anything out. You just be like,
That's it.
we gotta. Depends how you're feeling. That's what we'll go with. But yeah, I think those people would be pretty cool. And like David Greene, he'd be, if you're like you want to get realistic, if you're like
We want him on the show, too.
If, like you get like a problem, you have a problem with like I'm David Greene. I gotta have dinner with him. I gotta figure this situation out. Should I put in this offer? Should I accept? Should I go move forward with this? You know?
Yeah.
If I'm in that situation, I want to have dinner
100%.
with a guy like David Greene. Yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, there's. a
I
ton of
think maybe
people.
we should ask him who we didn't want to have dinner with.
No, it's great. Sometimes we have guys that like can't even give us one.
They come up with one. That was awesome.
Biden would be cool to have dinner with. Just like, dude, what's going on, man? like, yo, how are you doing? Like,
You might have to feed him.
Yeah, bro. Like, what are they giving you? Like, who's running this thing right now?
And he's got to answer too. So it's
Yeah.
like Biden might be the answer
I
here.
thought we were watching Scooby-Doo.
Kamala
Seriously,
Harris.
man.
I'd love to have dinner with Kamala Harris. Like, what's going on? Like, what's really going on?
That would be just 45 minutes to listen to her laugh.
Is there an earpiece in your ear right now? Are they telling you what to say? How do we, like, you know what I mean? Do you really think, are you really, who's running this thing? You know what I mean? Like,
Who's driving this car?
Where are we right now?
That's amazing.
Oh, dude.
Oh, dude, that was awesome.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you
Seriously.
coming
Bro, it's
down.
really good. Best
you so much,
podcast. I just realized while I was here, why it's called The Oven.
Why's that?
Why is
Because
that?
we eat on the fucking. Yo, how shot am I? How shot am I? I was looking at the shirt and I was like,
Show her what the shirt
oh.
you got over there.
I was like, oh, it all makes sense now why it's called The Oven. And I knew that you guys, I know that you guys eat on the podcast, and I just didn't even like think. I'm like, I'm shot. But this is the best podcast, especially if you can get on this thing. You're
Are you
freaking
kidding?
5-star meals, chilling with the boys, like
That's
espresso
it.
martinis, all
day.
best. It's great.
The
Thank
Oven
you guys.
Podcast. Thank you. The Oven Podcast. Follow us on all socials. Keep sharing the show. Spank that subscribe button. And don't forget, there's always an open seat for you at The Oven.
Yes, sir.
Keep it cooking in the oven. The oven. Yep. The oven. The oven. The oven.